Story 10. The Monkeys Meddle in the Supermarket. It was Tuesday morning, and that meant the weekly trip to the supermarket in Bridleton for Quack Quack. She'd written down a list of all the things she needed for her kitchen cupboards and her fridge, and at the bottom of her list were 2 cream cakes for her and her best friend Herbie Bear. And they would have them as a treat that afternoon. Quack Quack set off in her bright yellow car to the supermarket and arrived to find there were only a few places left. Oh, it looks as though it's going to be busy today, she thought to herself, but I must get this shopping done. Getting a trolley, she wheeled it into the huge store. Let's get my fruit and vegetables first, she said, studying her list. Ah, yes, tomatoes. Put 6 tomatoes in a bag. Onions, she continued, and took a packet of 3 onions from the shelf. Now, fruit. I need apples, grapes and bananas. And with that she picked up a bag of apples, a nice pack of grapes and a bunch of 4 bananas, putting them all in her trolley. Quack Quack continued walking up and down the aisles of the supermarket, picking things off the shelves and ticking them off her list. Out of the corner of her eye she thought she'd seen the cheeky monkeys Bert and Ernie, but the shop was quite full of people, so Quack Quack couldn't be sure. A few minutes later, and just as she was getting some orange juice, she heard a familiar voice behind her. Well, I do believe it's Quack Quack, boomed a kindly voice. Quack Quack turned round to see a very smart bear holding a walking stick, and he was wearing an elegant hat. Otto Brown, beamed Quack Quack. How lovely to see you. Otto owned the garden centre in Lower Puddleton, and he was friends with Quack Quack and Herbie Bear. And how are you today? He asked. I'm very well, thank you, replied Quack Quack. I've nearly finished my shopping, and then I'm going home to put it all away and have a cup of tea with Herbie Bear. And, I nearly forgot, cream cakes. I must get those. What a treat for you, smiled Otto. I might just treat myself as well. Quack Quack turned back to her trolley. That's strange, she said. I'm sure I just put some orange juice in my trolley, but it's not there. Oh, well, I must be getting forgetful. She picked another carton off the shelf and put it in her trolley. Somewhere nearby she could hear giggling, but she couldn't see anyone, so she and Otto went to choose their cream cakes, and they got a really nice one for Herbie, and then made their way to the tills to pay for their shopping. Quack Quack could hear cheeky chattering, but when she turned round, there was no one there. Otto, I'm sure Bert and Ernie are in the supermarket, she said suspiciously. I think I've heard and seen them in here. I hope they're behaving themselves. Oh, those 2 monkeys can be meddlesome at times, sighed Otto, and started placing items from Quack Quack's trolley onto the counter, while the cashier scanned them through her till. Quack Quack got to her fruit and vegetables at the bottom of her trolley. Well, that's odd, she quacked in frustration. I had 4 bananas I picked up, and now there are only 2. She then heard the distinct sniggering of Bert and Ernie, and looked around to see them jumping up and down with cheeky grins on their faces, both waving around empty banana skins. Oh, you naughty monkeys, said Quack Quack angrily. You took those bananas from my trolley while I was talking to Otto. With that, the 2 monkeys threw the banana skins on the floor and ran off, chanting, Ho, ho, huss, you can't catch us. Otto stepped over to Quack Quack. Don't worry, I'll round up those 2 meddling monkeys and make them get you some more bananas and pay for the ones that they've eaten. And with that, he disappeared off to search for the twins. A few minutes later, the monkeys appeared and ran past Quack Quack, with Otto close behind them. But they weren't looking where they were going, and both of them slipped up on the banana skins they'd thrown on the floor and ended up in a heap just by Quack Quack's feet. Well, that serves you both right, said Otto gruffly to both of them, and promptly picked them both up and placed the rather frightened monkeys in Quack Quack's trolley. Now, what do you say to Quack Quack? He continued. Come on, speak up. The monkeys certainly weren't grinning any more. In fact, they looked quite miserable. We're sorry, Quack Quack, for taking your bananas and eating them, they both said glumly, and then Bert piped up. I'm sorry as well for taking your orange juice out of the trolley and putting it back on the shelf. I thought that must have been you as well, Quack Quack said quite sharply, as she was annoyed with them. Otto spoke up again. Well, you two naughty monkeys will have to pay for the bananas you've eaten. And with that, the two emptied their pockets and handed money over. Now, said Otto, scamper off and do something useful and get 2 more bananas for Quack Quack. Bert and Ernie didn't need telling twice and disappeared off, returning with the replacement fruit. We're sorry for causing trouble, they both said with miserable faces. We won't do anything else naughty. And with that, they ran off. Later that day, Quack Quack told the whole story to Herbie Bear whilst they were tucking into their rather delicious cream cakes. Well, said Herbie, it was their own fault, and they slipped over on the banana skins they threw on the floor rather than putting them in a bin, so they really did deserve it. With that, he let out a little chuckle to Quack Quack and took a big bite out of his cream cake.